What's up, Taiwan? How's it going? I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The Taoyuan city government says a contractor is to blame for the collapse of a sports center ceiling during Sunday's 6.8 magnitude earthquake. As Jean Van Trieste reports, the company has accepted responsibility, but it remains unclear who will face what punishment.
After a two-day investigation, authorities in Taoyuan say this sports center ceiling collapsed during Sunday's quake due to structural flaws. One person was injured here during the 6.8 trembler, though the quake's epicenter is some 200 kilometers away, and the sports center was only opened last year.
那这个事情不应该发生。昨天鉴定的结果已经出来，那么负责统包的瑞筑营造，它的天花板的悬吊工程固定的作业，那么有瑕疵，那因此造成拉力不足，那所以造成这次的事件。那瑞筑营造必须负起责任。
The report doesn't lay all the blame on the firm. Recently added light fixtures also played a role, but the construction company faces the biggest consequences. It has agreed to pay compensation, fix the damage, and cooperate with authorities.
配合师傅的勘验跟结果这样。
But this doesn't resolve the matter.
我们会按照我们公务局还有我们上级机关这边的方式来处理。那目前新公处当然这边对厂商的契约责任或者是对监造责任这一部分是新公处会来执行的。
The city will now start determining what exact repercussions the company will face and how employees responsible for the collapse will be punished. Damon Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
There are also concerns that Sunday's earthquake could decimate tourism in eastern Taiwan's Hualien County. More than 100,000 visitors flock to Taiwan's Liushi Mountain and Chike Mountain every year to see flowers in bloom from summer to autumn. But business owners say damaged transport links and hesitation among tourists could lead to a 50% drop in revenue. And they say business is unlikely to bounce back anytime soon.
花季可能就在这边做一个 ending， 这个收益我们没有办法去估算，也不敢想。
The weekend's earthquake and aftershocks were a timely reminder of the threats Taiwan faces from seismic activity, while Wednesday marked 23 years since Taiwan's deadliest quake in decades, known as the Jiji earthquake or 921. More than 2,000 people were killed, prompting a rethink of Taiwan's resilience to big tremors. As Rick Glaut reports, the lessons learned in 1999 are as relevant as ever.
It's been over 2 decades, but 40-year-old Ms. Huang still vividly recalls Taiwan's last great quake. She was in high school when the 7.3 trembler hit in 1999, killing more than 2,000 people.
我真是幸运，当时的我还在跟学姐讨论我们要不要回学校，可是离我们这么近的地方有一整栋大楼倒了，有人压在里面就没出来了。对，所以即使过了这么多年，20几年了。 那个晚上发生的事情，包含那个声音，我都还记得很清楚。对，一辈子都难忘，真的一辈子都难忘。
Taiwan lies at the junction of 2 tectonic plates, and earthquakes are a part of everyday life here, with more than 2,000 tremors a year. But the widespread destruction more than 2 decades ago, during what is known as the Jiji quake, was a watershed, forcing Taiwan to face up to its earthquake vulnerabilities.
The buildings damaged here were transformed into a museum as a reminder of the devastation an earthquake can cause. 23 years after the Jiji quake, and Taiwan has once again been rocked by big tremors, raising concerns over whether the country can avoid another similar catastrophe.
After the Jiji quake, 236 schools were deemed unsafe and torn down. Building regulations were reformed, and the date of the quake, September 21st, is now National Disaster Preparedness Day, an annual exercise for Taiwan to stress test its emergency responses.
当我们遇到下一次这么大的一个类似9.1的灾害的时候，我们其实在灾损上面其实可以减少。那而且我们现在有这个地震预警系统，它基本上在我们全台湾的中小学都有建置。那 可以提前告诉他们说，在地震来临前的几秒钟，他们可以做什么事情。他们可以先保护自己，可以减少一些受伤。 那也许可以度过这个下一次大的灾害。
On a Sunday this month, a 6.8 magnitude earthquake damaged hundreds of schools in Taiwan, raising concerns over student safety had they been at school. For Ms. Huang, who now works in the school ruins turned earthquake museum, preserving what happened in 1999 is also an important part of learning how to deal with the threat of earthquakes.
这个地方没有人死在这里，而且面对这么多人需要推广防灾教育的当下，不需要去拿这些情绪告诉他们有多恐怖。我们保存下来的那些教室，就足够让你知道地震真的很恐怖了。
As Taiwan marks this grim anniversary in the country's history, it is also facing up to the fact that what it dealt with 23 years ago is still a very present danger. James Rayner and Rick Glowert for TaiwanPlus.
For more on what Taiwan has done to improve its resilience to big quakes, Rick Glowert spoke to Tony Yang, a professor of structural and earthquake engineering at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada.
So what has changed since the 1999 Jiji earthquake in Taiwan? And has Taiwan made its buildings more earthquake resilient since then?
The government has been proactively making changes to the building code so to prevent a major disaster like Jiji earthquake has happened. So, for example, in the design, we started making the design that we wanted the building to be almost no damage on those frequent earthquakes. And in the mid-range earthquake, we can expect that the building will be able to repair quickly. And then on the major earthquake like this one, we will prevent or have very low probability of collapse for the building. So those are adding it to the code, and we started designing that way. And also, since 2009, that's a major retrofit to all the schools in Taiwan. It's my understanding all the high school and below, so secondary school, elementary school, are all retrofitted.
Taiwan has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, and as family sizes shrink, funeral directors are turning to robots to help with ceremonial duties when someone passes away. Stash Butler reports.
At a funeral in Chiayi, some unusual mourners. These mechanical dolls are taking the place of human attendees, and they're dividing local opinion in this central Taiwan city.
现在少子化了，我觉得这是一个蛮符合时代，可以去思考。
没有那种饮水思源的观念，他说啊，就有人拜就好了。
But a local funeral director thinks they make for a better atmosphere.
伫烧烤要做过程当中，就两尊伫边啊，冷堂啊拜吼，较袂感觉伤单调。
These dolls aren't a new invention. They've been around for 30 years. Funeral director Yang Da-chang first started using them because COVID-19 restrictions were keeping families away from ceremonies. And even when they can attend in person, families themselves are shrinking in size. Since 1994, Taiwan's average household has dropped from about 4 people to around 2.5. That's partly because people here are having fewer children. In less than 30 years, the country's fertility rate has fallen from around 2 live births per woman to less than 1. That's well below the level needed to keep the population steady. It's not just funerals that are changing, other traditions are likewise transforming with the times. One temple offers prisms that let worshippers carry 3D projections of deities in their pockets. Want your fortune told? There's an app for that too. It may lack the solemnity of time-honored ritual, but these are some ways that religious groups in Taiwan are adapting to keep traditions alive amid significant demographic changes. Patrick Chen and Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of animal shelters in Australia overflowing with unwanted pets. Many people bought dogs during the COVID lockdowns, but as they return to their workplace, they are giving them up. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.